writers, welcome back to my channel where we are digging deeper. Last week we looked at the hero's journey and now we're digging deeper, going beyond the hero's journey to look at the different archetypes of heroes. So this week we're going to dig into the classic hero, which is the first, greatest, and most common hero, and it was really hard to pick one. I looked at Molly from Fargo. I looked at Nancy Drew. You know I love me my Nancy. Wesley from Pride and Prejudice. Neo from The Matrix. Xena, the warrior princess. And the Avatar, Aang from Avatar, The Last Airbender. And pretty much anybody from a Robert Jordan book and the new Wheel of Time series. But the one that's got my heart, Dale Cooper, Twin Peaks. But first, roll the intro.
A classic hero is a character who possesses an extraordinary ability that separates them from the rest of their contemporaries. This skill could be a talent for fighting or an internal quality such as cleverness or courage. So they have this great talent. This talent separates them from the rest of their contemporaries. They come from a humble upbringing. Their greatness has been foreshadowed. They're on an emotional quest, and they are facing a battle with pride. There are themes of death. Either they have to commit the ultimate sacrifice or they are betrayed in the end. Now let's have a look at how Dale Cooper from Twin Peaks is my favorite classic hero.
So, Dale Cooper. Cooper. Coffee, pie, donuts, and you gotta love those trees. This is a true classic hero. He is wonderful. And what I love most about what David Lynch does with Dale Cooper, especially when you talk about Twin Peaks Revisited, and we'll get to this, is how he twists this character and turns this character into something completely new and different. Because the thing about the classic hero is it's so classic and we're so familiar with this hero that we can get a little bit bored. And so what David Lynch does with Cooper is so remarkable. And what MacLachlan does with this character is just so great. I heard a story once about I believe it's the first episode, where Cooper is interrogating Bobby about Laura Palmer's death. And Kyle was playing the interrogation really angry and scary, and David Lynch stopped him and said, "No, I want you to turn to Harry and smile. And then I just want you to play it and the angrier he gets, the calmer you get." And that is the magic. That is Cooper. And that is his great talent. His great talent is his special quality for seeing things differently and for going left when we think he should go right. His amazing connection to the spiritual world of Twin Peaks and what that entails, and his supernatural connection to the lodge, the black and the white. Nobody can do what Cooper does, which we see in Twin Peaks Revisited, where the whole world is now at the mercy of the Black Lodge and of Mr. C, who is Bob reincarnated, and the horrors of that, until Cooper returns. And when Cooper returns, we have the answers, or we think we do, because it's a Lynch story. So even when you think you know what's going on, you don't, which is why it's great. Humble, yes, very, very humble. We don't know much about Cooper's past. We know he's a special agent from the FBI. We know he worked with a lot of different people in the FBI. We know from Fire Walk With Me that he has a special connection to his chief, Gordon, and we know all these things, but we don't know much about his upbringing. But we imagine that he was not of noble birth or anything like that. He's just a regular guy who fell in love with the wrong woman at one stage and ended up ended up not paying attention and failing in his job and failing to save her life. His greatness is foreshadowed definitely in The Return. We definitely see that in The Return. And I would argue even in Twin Peaks. We don't see it at the very beginning. We don't necessarily know that this character talking into his tape recorder driving down the road into Twin Peaks is going to be great. We assume because he's awesome, but it's not until he's in the Black Lodge and he meets Laura's doppelganger and she says, "I'll see you in 25 years," that we start to realize just how great this character is. And definitely that paid off in The Return when we return to Twin Peaks 25 years later and we get to see what she was talking about. That was really good. Battle with Pride. Now, Battle with Pride. Cooper isn't particularly proud in the traditional sense, but he takes a lot of pride in his job. We definitely see that in season 2. Spoilers! We definitely see that he battles with pride because he has to defend himself against these accusations of drug trafficking and breaking the law in ways that Cooper would never do. And when he has to face those challenges, he's definitely having a battle with his pride in that sense. He's definitely doing an emotional quest when we see him go after Laura. It's definitely an emotional quest. One of deep concern to him. And we see that in the end of The Return. And death is a huge theme. What have we looked at so far? We have seen that Cooper had a great talent that set him apart from his peers and from everybody else. We see that his greatness was foreshadowed in the Black Lodge when Laura says that she'll see him in 25 years. We see him on an emotional quest, and a quest that is a battle with pride, especially when he is having to defend his honor as a FBI agent. And finally, death. Death is a huge theme in Twin Peaks. It begins with a girl dead, wrapped in plastic. Death is definitely a theme. But how death plays out in Twin Peaks takes it a step further to a fate worse than death, to the horrors of being trapped in the Black Lodge and the nightmares of the creatures that indwell it. And that is something that not only is constantly betraying the characters, especially Cooper, but Cooper falls victim to at the end of season 2. He has succumbed to a fate worse than death because he is trapped in the Black Lodge, and Bob has taken his place as Mr. C. So next week we're going to look at the Every Hero, and this one is so much fun because we're also going to look at the superhero as well, because the superhero and the Every Hero and the classic hero are all very similar. So next week we're going to dig deep into these versions of the classic hero that have come from the original classic hero. So the Every and the Super, we're going to look at those next week. If you want the breakdown of these characters and the hero's journey and all the goodies in my writer's toolbox, it's in my Patreon account. Grab it there and keep writing. See you next week.
She's dead, wrapped in plastic.